Now, that was back in 65. Now, I was born in 1972, born in a Kalmyk family. So automatically you see that karmic connection. Previously, towards the end of his life, he spent his lives among the Kalmyk people. Now, there's certainly a reason to be born in the Kalmyk bloodstream. Now, and also at the age of 7, I was sent to India. And that time, I was recognized as the reincarnation of Telo Tulku. Who would have known back in 1980 when I was recognized, who would have known that communism would be overthrown in Mongolia? Who would have known that the Soviet Union would collapse? Who would have known that Kalmykia would need a leader to help them and assist them in revival of Buddhism after the collapse of the Soviet Union? But the Dalai Lama himself, I'm sure he has had visions or feelings or dreams or whatever it may be. I do not know. But definitely these were karmic predictions. Definitely, just things kind of fall into place, I mean,
so Dalai Lama reincarnated you as a sixth reincarnation.
Right. So you see that connection, you see that flow, you see that flow, the previous Telo Tulku, where his journey began, where it ended. And now this is a new chapter, it's a new life. And how is that, where is that leading to?
How did it happen? Could you tell us just briefly? I mean, you were in India?
Well, at a very young age, I had a very strong interest in becoming a monk. I wanted to learn. I wanted to, I was always, begging my parents that I wanted to go to the temple and, things like that. My parents couldn't understand it because every other child, when they grow up, they want to be a doctor, they want to be a lawyer, they want to be a fireman, they want to be a policeman, whatsoever. But in my case, it was always a monk. But so my parents, having a religious background, they thought, this is a sign. What is it? We don't know. So 79, I had my parents had a very first meeting with the Dalai Lama in America, and they asked His Holiness, our child, he wants to become a monk. We don't know what to do. What is it that you suggest, or what advice do you give? And His Holiness said, well, here in America, there's not many centers or, or monasteries where he could go and get a religious education. I would suggest you send him to India. So once I was sent to India, I think the older monks saw certain signs of things I would say or things that I would do. And so they requested His Holiness again. Maybe he is a reincarnation of a High Lama. We don't know. There are certain things he's doing. There are certain things he's saying. There's a possibility. So His Holiness said, give me a list of High Mongolian Lamas who have passed away in the last, 10, 15 years or so. And from there, Telo Tulku was on the name list. And so therefore, through His Holiness's meditation and divinations and prayers, and I was recognized as the reincarnation of Telo Tulku.
So this is the 7th visit, and then so what's your mission of this visit?
I think there's a huge responsibility having the title of Telo Tulku, and it's a huge responsibility because you're labeled as the Telo Tulku. And there's a huge responsibility not to spoil the legends, the history, the story, the wonderful stories, the benefit, mainly the benefit, how he benefit, the people of Mongolia, spiritually, politically, in every way, in social activities, in every way. So carrying that name, it's a very big burden, and you feel that this legend needs to continue. The story needs to continue. There should not be an end. It has to continue. And that's why I'm born in a Mongolian blood, even though in the Kalmyk, nowadays, in a Kalmyk family. But, it has to continue, So, and I think, in Kalmykia we have set a very good foundation for the future. Revival of Buddhism and development of Buddhism in Kalmykia. But now when I look at Mongolia, I see so many sad things. So many changes. Well, we call ourselves Buddhist. But do we know what Buddhism is? Do we know the essence of Buddhism? Do we know what we believe in? Do we know what we are worshipping? We don't have that information. And, it's part of our culture, And people think that Buddhism is some kind of a genetic, Oh, I'm a Buddhist because my parents or grandparents are Buddhist. That's not the case. It's really deep down inside. Who we are, what we believe in. And I think we lack that, We need to educate people, these cultures, these traditions, and information, provide the information that we need. And there's a lot of, social issues. People are suffering spiritually, emotionally, their families. And I think through Buddhism, through our culture, through our Buddhist culture, not necessarily religion, because I always separate Buddhism in many categories, mainly four. Buddhism as a religion, which means faith. Now, second, Buddhist culture. It's our way of life. It has no connection with the religion. It's totally separate. Now, fourth, Buddhist as an academic study. Not necessarily you become a Buddhist, but as an academic, study, research, Then fourth is Buddhist science. Meaning, what is Buddhist science? It's the science of the mind. That's totally different. So, these are four categories, And in Mongolian, in our tradition, in our belief, all four of these are combined. And people don't know that. So I think, through Buddhism, we can help the people who have emotional problems. How? Through Buddhist science. Now, we can teach the younger generation about our Mongolian culture. How? Through Buddhist culture. Nowadays, where there's, the younger generation going into different fields of in their careers, we can help them become better business people. We can help them become better politicians. We can help them become better lawyers. We can help them become better doctors through teaching Buddhism academically. And religion as a faith, which is totally separate, on a higher level.
So this sounds really unique. You talk with some political people.
I have some old friends here, who are politicians, business people as well, who've been giving their opinion and suggestions for many years now. This time I went mostly to the countryside to see the difference between four emecs. I went to Zakwan, I went to Gobi Altai, I went to Holt and Ups. And along the way, I stopped at not only the main cities of these emecs, I stopped at small villages. And to absorb, what is it that people like? What is it they want to know? What is it that they like to hear? And the mission is not to convert, not to compete with other religions, or not to not to discriminate, or not to be of any competition. But I think it is more on an educational, basis.
How popular is the Buddhism in Kalmykia?
In Kalmykia, yes, the population is 300,000. 60% is Kalmyk people, native, and out of the Kalmyk, I would say 99% of the Kalmyks are Buddhist.